Joining me now is Annafi Wahed. She's the founder of Flipside, and they are trying to appeal to both sides in getting news. I'm not sure I agree, and we're gonna have an interesting conversation. Annafi also was a former field organizer for the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. Welcome to the Young Turks, Annafi. Appreciate you joining us.
Hi, Cenk. It's really great to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So first of all, tell us what the flip side does, and then let's see if we'd come to agreement on some of the issues dividing the country.
So the flip side is on a doomed mission, some days it feels like, to depolarize America. So as I'm sure you know better than most, there's a never-ending news cycle, right? We have cable TV, we have Twitter, we have a million blogs, YouTube channels, and people are simply overwhelmed. So what we at the flip side do is that we are a bipartisan team of news junkies. We are reading 20, 30 op-eds a day, so you don't have to. So we are fact checking, we are making sure that the op-eds we cite is rooted in reality, logic, and we only cover one topic a day. And in a 5-minute newsletter delivered to your inbox, 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, you get the highlights of what each side is saying. We're really working to bring together thoughtful perspectives on the day's issues to our readers.
Well, to the point of your thesis, it's hard for me to come up with what I would consider a thoughtful opinion on the right-wing side. So it goes to your thesis because you say the country is divided and we don't understand each other anymore. Not just don't agree, but just we're in totally different camps. But we are, though. And I think the right wing basically are lunatics. So I don't want to read it. I mean, look, you tell me, make a case for, you found honest conservatives with real opinions. What name so?
Yes. So my co-founder is a staunch conservative and one of the most brilliant, smartest people I've ever met. And there are thoughtful commentaries out there written by conservatives who are, sometimes alarmed by Trump's actions, sometimes in support of Trump's actions. What we're really focused on is exactly the problem you're highlighting, right? We have so many voices on cable news that are really inflaming us, not informing us. And we really try to find the op-eds that are giving people reasons behind why they think X, Y, Z, why they think a policy is good or bad. So, we're looking at the editorial board at the Wall Street Journal or the National Review. And on the left, we're citing both progressives and moderate Democrats. And so we're really trying to highlight to people, hey, here's what the other side thinks. Look, there are a lot of problems facing our country, but call me an optimist, but I refuse to believe that 63 million people of my fellow countrymen are just racists who have been brainwashed by Trump. There are a million reasons why people voted for Trump and a million reasons why people voted for Hillary. And I think especially with the news cycle moving so quickly, the average person just feels overwhelmed with all of the partisan bickering. And while we do obviously have the two sides and it almost seems like we're helping that, we actually are trying to find the thoughtful perspectives and the thoughtful conversations that are being had.
So, Annafi, I don't want you to get me wrong. I think you're on a noble mission. Thank you. Yes, I'm not positive it's possible. So that's my honest opinion. That's why we're having this conversation. So look. Yeah, look, when you say all those Trump voters are not racist, I agree, only half of them are. But half of them definitely are. If you say that there aren't Trump.
With those numbers, I think there are racists who voted for Trump, but I don't think we can just, give up on a quarter of the country. That's essentially what you're saying, right?
No.
That's a very high percentage of our fellow countrymen that you're just writing off right now.
Yeah. I am, but I'm going to come back for them. So So it's a great point that you're bringing up. So let me tell you what my plan is. My plan is not to call things 50-50. I really don't mean to be insulting. I actually think that what you're doing, I'm not kidding when I say it's a noble mission. And when you say,
we're not taking a platform to the false news and the deliberately misleading information, right? No. So for example, yesterday when Vindman was being accused of having dual loyalties, you won't see that type of rhetoric in the flip side newsletter. We are genuinely trying to find the thoughtful perspectives, the people who are committed to the rule of law, to facts, facts to logic. So, and I think when you say, you don't see that on the right, perhaps that's because you're only looking at, let's say, some of the extreme voices, just as people on the right are only looking at some of the extreme voices on the left. So I really think it's really important for us, more so now than ever, to listen to the other side. At minimum, because we have an election coming up. And in order for us to convince the other side to vote for our candidates, we're going to need to know what they're thinking and what they're reading.
Yeah, so you guys are running things from National Review and Wall Street Journal, et cetera. So I get it, those are the more legitimate right-wing outlets. And I appreciate what you said about Windman and how you're not running stuff that is, smears against them, et cetera. You guys are doing hard work of finding legitimate right-wing voices, and I appreciate that, and that's part of why we have you on, obviously. And I want people to know about you, and I want people to know that that's a possibility. But if you think that it's the right wing in this country are split between reasonable folks and non-reasonable folks, even if you think it's evenly split, like 50% of Republicans are in the Trump camp, deranged, et cetera, and 50% are reasonable, that's not remotely true. 90% of Republicans support Donald Trump, and they've supported him through all of his madness, all of his atrocious behavior, and yes, through all of his racism. So, Annafi, let me tell you my plan, and then you tell me what you think of it. My plan is to utterly defeat them, to crush them, and politically send them into oblivion. And then after that, reach out to them and do healing, because we're actually not opposed to them or their interests in the real world. We want to give them health care, we want to give them higher wages, and all of that. So, and at that point, we could have real healing in the country, but we're not gonna have healing with deplorables and people that don't even believe in logic, reason, or facts. Okay, guys, we lost her for a second. So hold, I know it's an interesting conversation and an awkward place to have lost her, but let's have her back on. Hey, there you go, Annafi.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay, it happens sometimes, technical issues. I don't know how much of what I said you heard, but let me just, as quickly as I can, repeat it and get your thoughts on it. So look, my plan is to defeat the Republicans and not to reach out to them. And after they are thoroughly defeated and humiliated, then to give them health care and college for their kids and higher wages and actually do reconciliation in this country.
So I spent 4 months knocking on doors for Hillary Clinton in 2016 without a political background. I gave up my corporate cushy job to go knock on doors in rural New Hampshire because I really believed that that's my goal. But now I realize that we can't live in a country where the pendulum swings so far. And I just remember feeling so awful the day after Hillary Clinton lost that election and thinking, the world is going to end. I really did believe that. And I want to be in a country where we have two sides that can lose gracefully, that can win gracefully. And I don't think this, end all be all, we're at war mentality is good for a healthy democracy.
No, I don't agree, Annafi, and I'll tell you why. I think that the Republicans are in a constant state of warfare. So when Democrats are talking about losing nobly, all they ever do is lose. That's why Hillary Clinton lost. That's why Ossoff lost. That's why they all lose. That's why the Democrats lost 1,000 seats. I'm not gonna play that game. We're gonna crush them. We're gonna crush them. We're gonna crush them.
When we lose the election in, let's say, 2032 or 2036, right? We can't always be in power. And so we have to live in a democracy where we're listening to each other and actually trying to persuade the other side, because
I persuade the other side all the time.
And the pendulum swing.
But Annafi, I persuade the other side all the time. We've flipped thousands of conservatives into progressives. You know how I do it? I do it with facts and I do it unapologetically. I don't say the Republicans might have a point. The Republican Party is deeply 100% corrupt.
We're not apologizing for any views that we find abhorrent. Again, we're not giving a platform to people who say racist things or make xenophobic comments or are saying all poor people should die from lack of healthcare, right? We're genuinely trying to find the voices that are saying, okay, let's talk about this policy. Let's talk about the rule of law. And I think if you, again, write off half the country or a quarter of the country, as you seem to think is the strategy, then how can we claim to live in a democracy?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna come back for them, man. I'm not kidding. We're gonna give them health care. We're gonna raise their wages. We're gonna deliver for them better than the Republican Party has ever delivered for them. We're gonna actually improve their lives, but I'm gonna do it after I defeat them. I'm not gonna lose to monsters like Donald Trump. I'm not gonna do unilateral disarmament. You'd be nuts to do that. So look here, Annafi, let me challenge you on something. The Republican Party is filled to the rim with liars. And they all take corporate money. They all, no, I'm not talking about the voters in this case. I'm talking about the politicians. Can you name me one honest Republican politician in the country? Go.
John McCain, Mitt Romney, Chuck Grassley.
Mitt Romney, corporations are people, my friend. John McCain, there isn't a war I haven't fallen in love with. Why? John McCain took corporate money, defense contractor money to start all those wars.
I think the corporate money conversation is a different conversation. Because
no, it's part and parcel of why they lie.
I don't think all Republicans are lying, and certainly not. So, well, again, so let me ask this. Let's say Elizabeth Warren wins in 2020 and she puts in place a lot of executive orders that allow our policy preferences to prevail for 4 years or even 8 years. Then a Republican comes into power and undoes all of the hard work that she did. We can't live in a country where we are basically electing one authoritarian after the other. We have to.
No, but wait, you see, you just did it there, Annafi. I like your mission, and I want people to read it. Because I don't want them to just trust me. I want them to look at conservative sites too. I get it, and that's why I think what you're doing is interesting. But Warren and Trump are not the same thing. Don't do that sentence where you say we swing from one authoritarian to another. That's nuts.
What I'm saying is that if we have one half of the country that does think that they each are a threat to our democracy, the only way that we can govern right now is via executive orders. We don't have a
No. Here, I have an alternative theory. And it's very easy. We already have the House. We win the Senate. All it takes is 3 seats. We win the presidency. We end the filibuster. We pass every goddamn thing we want. And we steamroll the Republicans.
That honeymoon. And
what's that?
What happens. For a short time, we may even get that honeymoon that you're talking about. And then what? I'll
tell you that. And then we pass an amendment to get money out of politics. And then those corporate people, both on the Republican and Democratic side, are screwed. Yeah. Then they don't have any money. They can't go crying to daddy, corporate daddy, and say, oh, please, let me lie on your behalf, bribe me. We get the money out of politics, and then we'll get our democracy back. And then we'll have real Republicans and Democrats having actual honest debates. That's my theory.
That's a noble mission. I am all for getting money out of politics as well, but I think the conversations need to start happening now. At the very least, studies show that people are going to Thanksgiving dinners and cutting them short because they can't even literally have a conversation with people.
Of course not, because the other side's lunatics. What am I supposed to have a conversation about how windmills cause cancer?
That's a very ludicrous way of looking at half our nation.
No, it's not. Hey, look, Donald Trump believes that windmills cause cancer because of the noise that they create. Donald Trump believes all of these things he believes that the Kurds betrayed us by not showing up at Normandy. So if someone tells me that they believe that those are great ideas, he believes we should have executed the Central Park 5 and that they must have done something anyway. If you believe those things, I'm not going to have a conversation with you because we're not even speaking the same language.
Most Republicans agree that Donald Trump does not always tell the truth
are they not merciful?
And they actually take a lot of issue with the way he is acting in the White House. And if you actually did listen to those thoughtful voices, you would know that. I think,
They don't take any issue with it. 90% of the Republican Party supports Donald Trump. They don't have any issues with it. They love his madness. They love his lies.
Who did you vote for in 2016, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't mind at all. In the primaries, I voted for Bernie Sanders. In the general election, I voted for Hillary Clinton.
Did you support every single thing Hillary Clinton did?
Not remotely.
And said?
No.
So then how can you say that by somebody saying they support Donald Trump, they support every single one of his actions?
Because if you ask me, hey, do you support Hillary Clinton on trade deals, on the dozens of things I disagreed with her, I would have told pollsters, no, I don't support her on that. But the fascists on the other side go, yes, I support dear orange leader. I support him with everything. They say that all the time. Look at the polls. I'm not making it up. Look at the polls.
And what we are trying to do is actually talk to both, Democrats and Republicans to say, maybe here's why they are supporting this policy or that policy. And again, I go back to saying that the Republican Party is quite diverse. You've got your never Trumpers, you've got your sometimes Trumpers, you do have your pro-Trumpers, right? But we are trying to bring together the thoughtful voices in each of those camps who are defending their reasons. Just as Democrats are out there saying, "Oh, these are the policies we're fighting for." But the only way we're going to be able to convince the two sides to at least maintain decorum, to work together. I mean, we have such gridlock in Congress because exactly those polling numbers, right? People are not listening to each other, and we are just working to make sure that people at least have the tools to start that conversation, so they can say, "Okay, I know you think X, and I know you think Y." And here's what I believe, and here's why, right? Right now, it's just screaming heads talking about one side being evil and the other, vote for me or else the world is going to end. And I don't think that's sustainable in a healthy democracy.
Okay, we're so out of time. I'm desperate to respond to that, though. No, you have the Republicans screaming their heads off. You have the Democrats whispering in a little corner.
There's plenty of screaming on the Democrats.
Yeah, I do it, and the Just Democrats do it, and that's it. The rest of the Democrats are pudding soft. They let those Republicans run all over them. That's the actual problem.
If the Republicans are indeed that bad, if as you say, the Republicans are that bad, should we stoop to their level? Should we not take the moral high ground and say
moral high ground? Moral high ground.
The other side.
I can't. Enough. You getting me worked up. Okay, listen. Moral high ground in politics is for losers.
Again,
okay.
The Republican Party has lost their way. We should show them the way, right?
We'll show them the way by defeating them so thoroughly that they end their party and apologize to us.
Temporary victory. Okay, that's not going to get our country back.
It's not temporary. I will destroy the I will destroy the Republican Party completely.
You have to run.
Completely. We will destroy them completely. So it will be permanent. So don't worry about it. Okay. But look, guys. Despite all that, I'm not kidding. What Annafi's trying to do is a wonderful thing. She's trying to bring thoughtful people from two sides. Look, obviously, I'm not in the mood for it, but a lot of people are. And if you are, that's the place you should go, and you should read both sides. And hey, maybe one side convinces you or the other does. But please check out the flip side, theflipside.io. I wish we lived in the world that you think we live in, Annafi, and I'm rooting for you.
Reality, how's that? I am idealistic and hoping my idealism will be contagious.
All right, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.